And our party is on the record in wanting stepped up Canadian commitment to foreign aid.
In the NDP support 0.7% of GDP as a legitimate goal, and
Debate night in the closely watched riding of Toronto Centre. It's one, in fact, of 4 federal by-election campaigns across the country right now. Advanced voting already underway. Tory Jeff Pollock and the Green Party's John Devrel are hoping for a good showing, but the stakes are higher for both the Liberals and New Democrats. Liberals have won easily in Toronto Centre for 20 years. Former party leader Bob Rae held it most recently, but the current campaign is different. There are 2 high-profile candidates, and both are well-known former journalists, Linda McQuaig for the NDP and for the Liberals, Christia Freeland. Freeland is an award-winning author, a contributor to the New York Times, former editor at the Globe and Mail. She spent most of her career outside of the country before returning to Toronto to seek the Liberal nomination, and she's been strongly endorsed by leader Justin Trudeau. Voting day, November 25th. This morning, we'll be speaking to both high-profile candidates right now. Liberal candidate for Toronto Centre, Christia Freeland, joins us now. So 1 week to go before voting day. How do you think the campaign has gone for you?
Well, it's been very intense, and it's been a lot of fun. For me, one of the things which has been so exciting about this campaign is talking one-on-one with so many voters. And that's really such a great thing about how our democracy works, that, 134,000 people in Toronto Centre, you can meet a lot of them. When I've been going out canvassing, I sometimes now meet people who say, you canvassed me already. I met you at that coffee party the other week. And that sort of direct contact is what I think campaigns are all about.
Has it been a considerable or even a steep learning curve? Your first political campaign, I assume. So what has it been like? Just what have you learned?
I've learned that people are smarter than sometimes kind of the official conversation gives people credit for. So I sort of came in really being focused on economic issues, really focused on sort of the nature of Canadian democracy, focused on Canada's role in the world. And some people said to me, oh, you can't talk about that at the door. People don't care about that stuff. People care about it so much. People are so focused on the economy and are so sophisticated in understanding the economy has changed and we need new policies. Other thing that's been really a positive surprise for me at the door is Toronto Centre is such a diverse and global community.
Absolutely.
Half of the people in Toronto are born somewhere else outside the country. And so people are really interested in international issues and very sophisticated in their understanding of them.
Certainly the contest in Toronto Centre has generated a lot of interest in just political observers. And many people have commented on how intense it's been, but also how personal it's become, particularly when it's been focused on you. I just want to show you what New Democrats have tweeted, and they have shown this image, and we just want to put it up on the screen. A fairly vintage-looking cell phone with the script saying, Christia Freeland hasn't lived in this riding since cell phones looked like this. And Bob Rae, as you know, this week tweeted, the contest has been reduced to class warfare and character assassination. Character assassination. Has it felt like that for you at certain points in this campaign?
Well, I have to say I have been personally disappointed by the negative tone of a lot of the NDP campaign. And it feels to me as if they're taking a page from the Conservatives' book. I really think that that is such a mistake, and that's not what people want. If we reduce politics to negativity and personal attacks, we're going to turn people off the political process. And one of the only really disappointing conversations I have at the door are people saying, you know what? Politics is just this dirty game between dirty people, and let those gladiators, those buffoons, fight among themselves. That's not what I think democracy should be. On the point about, about residency, I also really want to push back against that because, Toronto Centre, there is no back of the bus in Toronto Centre. I have had the good fortune to be born in Canada. My oldest daughter is actually born in Toronto Centre. But we are not a country where you have to be descended from United Empire loyalists to have a voice. And that's something I really, I have to say at the door, I have a lot, I am reminded of how diverse this riding is. And people really are happy and want us to have a global voice.
You say that you often, when you go door to door, you want to talk to people about Canada's place in the world. That reminds me of Michael Ignatieff. And you and Michael Ignatieff actually have similar backgrounds. I mean, you carved out a professional pedigree outside of Canada. You, in some ways, are global citizens of the world. For Michael Ignatieff, of course, that was a liability. Has it become a liability for you in this campaign? New Democrats have certainly taken you to task for that, and clearly they did in the tweets.
Yeah, I would say taking to task, you can only be taken to task for something you've done wrong. And as I said, there is no back of the bus in Toronto Centre. I'm really proud of what I've accomplished in my career outside the country. I'm proud to have grown up on a farm in northern Alberta and to have done interesting things in the world. And I sort of feel that this is the biggest job interview in my life. And one of the things I'm offering to the people in Toronto Centre is to say, I've learned things and I've earned a voice in the global conversation. I can bring that to you as your representative. As a bonus for me, so many people here share that international experience. And I think that they are going to choose a representative who can speak for them in Toronto, in Canada, in the world.
What does that mean in real terms, though? When you say you bring this international perspective and you can be this voice for the riding, in real terms, what does that mean? How does that benefit voters?
Oh, in a lot of ways. It means that I have a real understanding of how the international economy is working and what the challenges are.
And the Canadian economy?
And the Canadian economy. And I think all of us understand, every single person in Toronto Centre knows that each one of us, as a person, as a company, as a city, and as a country, to be successful, we have to be competitive in the world economy, now more than ever. The other thing I bring to it is I do have a voice in the world already. And that's something that I think Canada needs more than ever.
I don't know whether you get this question at the door. I know your detractors have asked you this, but you've bought a house in the riding. You've got your family here. If you don't win this by-election, have you already set your sights on the federal election? You're here to stay and you're staying put.
Yeah, we're here to stay. That's why we bought a house. But you know what? Right now, I am not thinking of anything beyond November 25th. That's what all my energies are focused on.
Well, I'm sure the next few days will be very busy, non-stop campaigning. Thanks for joining us and making time for us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Nancy.
Thanks, Christia.